and welcome to Small Talk with Centers for New Horizons.
Hello.
And today with me I have Corey, and he's going to be speaking today about predatory loans and responsible lending. So the reason I asked you to come in today is because, well, let me backtrack.
Okay.
New Year's Eve, I was driving down on the south side.
Okay.
And I noticed that there was a long line out the door of the Payday lending agency. And there was actually steam on the windows. And I'd never seen anything like that before.
Okay.
So that's the reason I brought you in, because I'd like to know exactly why is that so. And evidently it seems to be a trend here. So I'd like for you, A, to introduce yourself, and B, tell us a little bit about your experience in the industry and why this is so.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to say, thank you for having me here this evening. I am a loan officer here in the Chicagoland area. I've been in lending for about 15 years. Most of the facilities that I've worked for have been in the African American community. So that's introducing myself, and to answer your question, well, first of all, on New Year's Eve, what happens is a lot of people, they get like their final checks for the year, whether it's SSI or whatever, and the reason why you saw that that particular facility, instead of these people waiting to go to their bank, is because, number one, a lot of people who cash their checks at a currency exchange or PLS, basically what that means a lot of times is that they're unable to get a checking account or savings account at a traditional bank. So, and that can be for a number of reasons. Number one would be because of credit. Credit is number one. There are a lot of people who are unable to get a traditional checking or savings account because their credit is not up to par. Whereas if you go to some of these financial centers, they do not have credit checks, and it's a lot easier for a consumer to come in and to get a loan.
Really?
Yes.
So I wasn't aware that credit checks were ran for traditional checking accounts.
Yes, they are. It
Okay.
is a credit check is done, and it's also to see if you've had a checking account at another facility.
Oh, it looks like we have a caller.
Okay.
Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am. I have a quick question.
Yes.
When I be hearing in the news on different shows, they talking about a lot of things. We need to have more deregulations, and it make the hairs of my neck, goes up. Isn't regulation in certain places is for protection, and we keep us out of certain type of mess like we was in back in 2008?
Well, I can definitely answer that. Well, absolutely, regulations are absolutely needed. We have to have our bylaws, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to answer this like this. It's for the protection of the financial institution and also for the protection of the consumer. The one
I'll
thing.
be real quick. I'll be real quick. Then why we have? I'm not calling no names.
Sure.
Why do we have certain people that running for office and saying that regulations are bad and they're hurting businesses?
Well, I can't speak for everyone who is running for office.
Listen to your response.
Okay. All right. Well, basically, listen, you have people in politics who are running for office. They may have their own agenda. So a lot of times, what I would like to say is that the consumers, what we have to do is, for ourselves, when we go into these facilities, we have to understand, listen, just because this particular facility is offering me this amount of money, well, let me find out. Let me do my own research. Let me research the company. Let me find out how much the interest rate is going to be. Because a lot of times, when you go into these facilities, you will see signs that will tell you about the interest rates. But it's up to the consumer to also, we have to protect ourselves. Predatory lending is out there. You have companies that are going to come into the African American community, and they're going to lend just because they know that people in the African American community need to have these loans. You're not going to open up a financial institution in a neighborhood where everyone is making $150,000 a year. Because guess what's the number one goal of the financial institution? To make money.
So how does a person know if they're in a predatory loan?
Well, The first thing is when they are making payments on their loan. Well, there are a lot of ways that companies can hide this, but the number one way for the average consumer is this. If you take out a loan and if you have one late payment, if the financial institution charges you 2 or 3 times for one late payment, then you know right away you should be calling the Better Business Bureau. Actually, you should be calling the Better Business Bureau in the first place whenever you're going to a financial institution to take out a loan. Check it out. Do your own research, but that's the number one way. If this company is charging you twice for being late on the same loan in 1 month, then you know that you have an issue. We know that the bottom line is to make money, but they're trying to cheat you.
Okay. So, is there any specific criteria, whether spoken or unspoken, about where payday loan places choose locations?
Absolutely. A lot of times what happens is when you see these locations opening up, you're going to see them in predominantly African American neighborhoods and predominantly Hispanic neighborhoods. And the number one reason for that is this. A lot of times people in our communities are unable to get a traditional checking account. So they are unable to go into our banking facilities and get a loan. Bad credit, time on the job, a lot of those things come into effect. But when you see the payday loan place and you go into that facility, there's no credit check, which is number one reason. That's the number one reason why people come in there, because there are no credit checks. They will pay a higher annual percentage rate on the same loan that they could get from their bank because there is no credit check. Once you have messed up your credit, then it's difficult for a traditional banking facility to trust you. The whole thing about lending is even with a solid financial background, the facility has to trust you. So here comes the payday loan store that says, hey, listen, guys, don't worry. We understand that Bank A will not take care of you. We understand the problem. We will take care of you. And guess what? It's going to be no credit check. But that percentage rate is going to go through the roof. What I would say to, I'm sorry, Jim.
No, I'm listening.
Okay. What I would say to our consumers in the African American neighborhoods is, number one, be more well-read. When you go into a facility, you want to definitely check out the facility before you sign your name on anything. You want to make sure you look over that paperwork. You want to make sure you know what you're paying. You also want to know if there is a penalty for early payoff. That's extremely important because, see, a lot of facilities don't want you to know that they don't make money when you pay off early. When you're paying off on a loan early, that facility does not make money.
Looks like we have a caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am. Isn't there other way to tell whether or not if you're getting a bad, like short-term loan, what that old saying, if you miss a payment, they put a brick on your check? Isn't that the other way to tell?
They put a brick on your check.
Talking about they put a brick on your check.
Okay, now I'm not familiar
That
with.
means you cannot get your paycheck until you take care of the loan people.
Well, no, I'm not familiar with that practice, but I will tell you this. Basically, what we have is garnishment of wages.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, we just use different words.
Okay.
They talk about they put a brick on your check.
Okay. So we call it in the financial industry garnishing your wages. So basically, that is absolutely correct. If
Right. Like I said, old school, they said they put a brick on your check. Take care.
That's new terminology for me too.
Well, yes, absolutely, garnishing your wages. And see, most consumers, when you go in and you take out a loan at a PLS store, I'm going to say that 5th, 6th, or 7th sheet of paper, it's going to be a wage garnishment paper there. And most consumers have signed that. So that's why I'm saying be mindful of what you're signing, know what you're signing. Because the only thing the financial institution is going to say, let me see that packet. Page 6, you signed a wage garnishment paper. So you have to be mindful of what you're signing, and check out these institutions. Go to the Better Business Bureau, bbb.org, and check out some of these institutions.
That sounds wonderful.
Absolutely.
So, some agencies or some currency exchange or what, payday loan services, is that what PLS stands for?
Yes.
Okay, payday loan services. They do allow people to take out loans no matter what the income is. Can you explain to me, like, I understand that they actually let you take loans out even if you get a government check from the government or Social Security or anything. Can you explain exactly where the regulations come in or where they red tape might come about?
Well, we have something in the financial industry that we call Truth in Lending. There's an act that's called the Truth in Lending Act. And basically what that means is that we have to be truthful to you. We have to tell you what the annual percentage rates are for these loans. And also we have to tell you if your debt to income ratio does not meet this particular loan, which means if your income is $5,000, but your bill's going out for that month is $10,000, there's no way you can pay us back. So we should not be giving you that loan.
So in cases where they
should
do
not
issue,
be giving you that loan because they know that the debt to income ratio is too high. There's no way that this person can afford to pay off another loan.
so in cases where they do issue that loan, what happens?
Well, basically what happens is if the consumer is unable to pay for the loan, which the institution may know that when the consumer sits down, and if they go ahead and process that loan, what's going to happen is that the loan is going to default. And see, a lot of times the institution, I won't say that they don't care, they do care, but they're going to get their money anyway because it's going to just roll over to collections, and all these places are affiliated with each other.
Okay.
So the most important thing I can say to my consumers, please take care of yourself. Look at every sheet of paper that you're signing, read it thoroughly, and ask questions.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Well, I thank you so much for coming in to visit
Thank you
with
for
us
inviting
today.
me. Thank you for inviting me.
I believe that this conversation was more than enlightening.
Thank you so much.
And I welcome you to come visit us.
Thank you again.
If you have any questions, feel free to contact Centers for New Horizons at 4150 South King Drive, Chicago, Illinois 60653, or you can visit us at www.cnh.org. Follow us on Twitter or Instagram, #Centers 2.0, or you can reach us at 773-373-5700. And with me, I have Raymond Andrus, and he's here to discuss with us this new Reentry initiative that Centers for New Horizons has decided to take on. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. It's always a pleasure.
Well, thank you. So, I'd like to know what led you to push for this Reentry initiative.
Well, first and foremost, it's a well-needed initiative. This population is actually one of the most openly discriminated populations about right now. I know they ban the box, don't ask if you've ever been arrested or convicted of a felony or whatnot. However, that question still arises on most applications. So with that being said, most individuals who have that challenge or that barrier may not know how to convey that to a potential employer, or may just get frustrated and don't want to move forward, don't realize the resources that are available to them just because they have that challenge. So what really pushes me for this initiative, just to show them that it's a glass ceiling up there where they see individuals who are successful and they feel they can't get up there. But these resources out here are available to them, and they can get up there past that glass ceiling where the people are successful.
Oh, perfect. So, can you tell us a little bit about what exactly at work made you, or what experience you had that made you push for this?
Well, Aaron, on a daily basis, I have multiple candidates who are looking for employment sit in my chair, and I get to assess them, talk about their past experiences, what they're looking to do and whatnot. And the majority of the time, we're running across this ex-offender barrier. And I've come to find out, though, that these individuals in this population, most times these are the individuals who's going to work the hardest. They realize that a lot of doors are not opening up for them, and the opportunity that they get, they must put 150% of their efforts into it. So as I meet with them and I'm finding out that the majority of them have this challenge, there has to be something put in play to address this barrier. Now, the individuals who came through that had that barrier, we kind of developed a system to how we work with them, and I would say about an 80 to 85% of those individuals are employed right now. So we think we got a really good system in play, a curriculum on how we handle and work with our ex-offenders. So what we want to do now is take that into the jails for individuals who may be getting out in the next month or two. We'll start working with them in those 60 days. By the time they get out, their mentality is reformed, and they're off into employment and on to being good humanitarians in society.
Awesome. So what you're saying is currently they come to centers for workforce development. And so now you're saying you want to take it a step further and go into the jails.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I do apologize if I wasn't clear, but yeah, the individuals that we meet with for our current programs that we service, some of those have that barrier, and just tracking the individuals who had that barrier and seeing what kind of success we had with them, we're taking that as a pilot program and going into the jails to see if we can help the individuals that are coming out or will be coming out soon to get into employment and back into society.
Awesome. So, can you tell me what type of results you may be looking for?
Well, of course, we're looking for the most positive results as possible. Unfortunately, this is it's a pilot program, so there will be some glitches, some wrinkles, some things like that. However, I'm confident and I feel really good about my team that I'm working with. We're really jumping in front of it. We're thinking about all potential challenges and barriers that may come about, and we're putting things in play to eliminate those barriers and challenges, so when the individual is released, that they have minimum worries, minimum challenges, and can get off into employment.
So, can you tell me what this initiative will look like as far as the flow and exactly, we may have people, we still have people coming into workforce development at centers, exactly how the process would go for them to, receive reentry services, whether it be from coming out whether receiving services from us in the jail or receiving services from us, outside of the jail. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's start with, and that's actually a great question, because most individuals who want to get involved with something, to make that decision, you need to know what it looks like before getting involved. So let's start with the jail, because that piece will be incorporated into what we do on a daily basis. So in the jails, there's a program we're working with called the Step Down Program, where individuals who will be released within the next 60 days are in this program. So what we'll be doing is going in there 1 day a week, and we'll be providing vocational training and employment workshops.
Awesome.
With these workshops, what we're trying to do, because most times people get out of jail, they're institutionalized at that time, and when they get out, some of them do something to get right back in there. So what we want to do is redevelop their mentalities where they understand that they don't need to be institutionalized, and there are opportunities and resources out here for them to take advantage of. So while we're in there, we'll be doing those workshops. We'll be prepping them on resume development, interview questions, attire, things like that. We'll have some resources where we can kind of get them some attire. But the main thing we want them to, because they have that barrier, they do have to acknowledge it. They don't have to say that's who they are, but they have to acknowledge it because it's a part of them. However, that's not who you have to be in your future.
Absolutely.
So once we're doing that workshop, and we'll be using a curriculum that we've developed at Centers for New Horizons with our TIP training program, where it's based more so on inspiration and hope, which the individuals who are incarcerated will more than likely need.
Okay. So, you've been in workforce development for how long now?
About 10 years now.
About 10 years. So, from your personal experience at work, can you tell me what the difference is between a job readiness training for your typical individual and a job readiness training for your your reentry individual, how they need to differ in order to make this process more effective?
Okay. Well, the main difference is, like I stated a little earlier, is we're going to be incorporating that inspiration into when you're. And just because of my experience, like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've seen individuals go in and out. And when they come out, they feel beat down. They feel broke down. They feel almost to nothing, if I'm safe to say that. So what that tip training would do for them is rebuild them as an individual first. And once they rebuild as an individual, and then we assess and identify barriers and challenges, and we address those, then that person can, while they're going in that interview, they're not feeling beat down. They're not feeling like they're low or next to nothing. They're feeling confident. They have acknowledged what they've done, but they are already knowing what they want to do, and they're ready to convey that to a prospective employer.
Okay. So can you share the most inspirational reentry story that you can think of at this moment?
You know what? I was hoping you would ask that question. And I'm going to try to leave names out of it because I didn't speak with the young man prior to coming on here today. But there was a young man just came out. I think he did... I want to say about 5 years. It was definitely for a murder. He came home from a murder and was on parole. He had to do 2 more years of parole. But there's something about determination. Determination is not just a word that comes out of your mouth. It is the way you carry yourself. It's an action. So this young man came in, and I'm a business service representative. There are some tasks you must complete to get to me. This man, on his first day, when he found out that I was one of the individuals with the jobs, he introduced himself, and he became familiar with me very quickly. That was one thing that got him on my radar. After that, I started to watch him as he communicated with his employment specialist, how he completed his JRT, and even how he completed tasks that were given to him outside of that. He completed them all successfully. He was punctual. He showed up on time. He showed me through his actions that he was determined. And I'm going to be honest with you, when he got to me, I could have sent them right out, but I tasked them again just to see, because people can fool you for maybe a week or two. They can act like something that they're not. But after so long, the truth comes out. So I continued to task him, and he continued to stay focused, motivated, and successful. And he always told me, Mr. Andrus, I just need a chance. I just need a chance. And when he got the opportunity to go interview, well, the name of the company at that time was Bowback Sausage Company, and they're an ex-offender-friendly company. So that opportunity became available. She reached out, the employer contact reached out to me, see if I got anybody. Thought of him first and foremost, sent them over there. He interviewed. Well, actually, we got his resume together. We got us some interview clothes. Like, it was a whole life-changing situation for this man. And he comes, to this day, he still comes by and thanks me and whatnot. But I always let him know that I couldn't do anything without him. I can create opportunities, but if I have no job seekers to take advantage of them, I'm doing no good in the community. And if I got job seekers and no employers, I'm still in the same boat. So that was actually the most passionate experience I've had with an ex-offender, and it was actually a really quick turnover for him.
Yeah. So what is he doing now?
He's still at Bowback Sausage Company. He is a manager. He's hiring and firing other people that I sent to him. We're laughing, but it's the truth.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So I take it he still goes back and mentors and.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, as an employer, the employers we work with, we do ask them to mentor, coach, and let them know that they have, the job seekers have ongoing coaching and case management at our agency. But yeah, they train them. If they like you over there at Bowbacks and you're doing well, they'll give you all the information you can need to move on to the next level. And that's exactly what he did. He learned everything on the front line, continued to express interest in learning more, and really eager in it. And now he's management.
He's a wonderful representative. Well, that just goes to show that sometimes the darkest moments in your life can shed the most light on your life.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly concur.
Well, I thank you so much for tuning in to Small Talk with Centers for New Horizons.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Until the next horizon.